March 16th Board of Control meeting, we have Nan Baker, Dale Miller, Jim Boyle serving as an alternate for Dan Brady, Dave Marquardt serving as an alternate for Mike Dever, Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Armin Budish,
Here.
Lenora Lockett, Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer. We have a quorum.
Okay, let's take a quick second here to review the minutes from March 9th. Does anyone have any questions with it? Comments? No, seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 9th. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Baker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes approved. Public comment?
No public comment at this time.
Okay, contracts and awards?
We have 3 tabled items. The first tabled item is item number BC 2020-127, Sheriff's Department, submitting an agreement with City of Richmond Heights in the amount not to exceed $60,000 for inmate housing services, and it's for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
Sheriff Department, want to come up? Sheriff?
Good morning, everybody. Sheriff Dave Schilling. We're here this morning on the agreements that have been submitted before the Board of Control. I know that there's been some questions as to why these agreements were submitted or entered into, and the only answer that I have, and some of you may have my response that I had submitted this morning. These contracts, which we're asking for approval on, were agreements that were entered into prior to me coming in as the county sheriff, and prior to the appointment of Rhonda Gibson as the Director of Corrections. The contracts, which were about to expire, I would say, last October, or well, at the end of last year, the end of 2019. Those were 3-year agreements, and they were designed to provide inmate housing services to the City of Richmond Heights, the Village of Woodmere, the Cleveland Metropolitan Park District, and the Village of Highland Heights. Since we're quickly approaching the expiration of these contracts, or these agreements, at the end of 2019, we didn't want to place an undue burden on the municipalities to find other housing options since we were so close to the end of that term. Decision was made that these agreements be extended for another 3-year period. However, it was my decision to only extend, given the population of the county jail and the ways we were trying to clean up and improve the conditions and bring down the average daily population, was to only do a year agreement until the end of 2020. So currently, that's where we're at with this. And again, we didn't just want to go to these municipalities and say, hey, you know what? You're not housing your prisoners here anymore, and place a burden on them to find other housing arrangements. So that's where we're at this time. I'm asking for the Board of Control's consideration in approving these contracts for the remainder of 2020, which time I would say probably sooner, if not later, we should probably get with these municipalities, put them on notice, if you will, and have them evaluate their housing needs and see where, let them make arrangements as far as another area to house their inmates other than the county jail. One thing we're hoping for is that with the, of course, right now with the COVID virus, we're all being pulled in different directions, but with the onset of the central booking project, we're hoping that a lot of that could be handled through that, and a lot of these individuals that are coming in from these municipalities could hopefully be given a bond, processed, and released.
Okay, any questions for the Sheriff? Councilman Miller.
just a comment that I continue to have doubts as to the advisability of this process. However, I have been advised that it's in our legal best interest to continue to do so. So on that basis, I'm going to vote for it. Thank you.
Mr. Boyle.
Thank you,
please.
Mr. Miller.
And again, Sheriff, to kind of go back in time a little bit, I believe that the county has an obligation to foot the bill for prisoner care for misdemeanors that are charged under state code. I think that's accurate. I think that.
I believe so, yes.
And
yes.
I know Councilman Miller, we've had some brief discussions on it, but the inmate care that's included with these, and there's another city in the back. So we have Richmond Heights, Woodmere, the Parks, and I think Highland Hills are also in here today.
Correct, yes, sir.
Are all of their misdemeanors coming to us, so not even under state code? I'm not sure who's coming in.
Nor am I, Mr. Boyle. To be quite honest with you, I'm assuming that these are all misdemeanors. I believe that, you know, like, for instance, the people that we're probably getting from Metro Parks are probably people that appear in the Fairview or in the Rocky River Municipal Court. And, you know, so these are low-level offenders who I would imagine aren't doing much county time here.
Right, because, and I would assume, Donna, and perhaps you'd be the one to answer the next question. So we're about, this contract is through this calendar year, correct?
Correct.
And we're about one, give or take, a quarter of the way through the contract. I mean, the dollar amounts that you have in here, have you extrapolated out that these are essentially, I mean, are we expecting that these are going to be 4 times that amount? I'm just trying to see where we are currently in terms of how much we paid for prisoner care.
Donna Khalil, Sheriff's Fiscal Manager. Okay, so let me get the question straight.
Here, let me do it this way. So Richmond Heights, we're asking for $60,000. So we are now, give or take, I mean, how much have we already spent?
Again,
not spent, but would be billed.
We're not going to be billed. We're going to bill them. These are not these are like revenue generators.
Maybe I'm doing it backwards.
Okay.
So how many Richmond Heights prisoners have been here already?
We are, for 2019, Richmond Heights, we averaged 1.8 prisoners a day. We do everything by days, not by inmates. So Richmond Heights last year was 664 days we billed them for.
So what I'm getting at is in calendar year 2020, presumably there have been Richmond Heights inmates here, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we have not billed them yet?
No, we're still billing, and we're still billing.
Without a contract in place?
Correct.
Are you paying?
Yes.
The other thing, and I think it's more of a broader question that law may be able to answer, but I believe that the communities that are here, and I think that we've seen in these similar type of contracts, are smaller communities. So we've got Woodmere, we've got Highland Hills, and then the housing, or the Metro Parks. My guess is, and perhaps you can fill in some of the blanks here, it's because those communities and institutions, Metro Parks, Tri-C, other people that have independent police department, don't have their own holding cells. Is that fair?
Yes.
And then the issue with Richmond Heights, and I know we've discussed, met with the mayor,
Yes,
is that they used to utilize Euclid's jail, and now that's not available. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think if I can reiterate what Councilman Miller has said, I think the broader question is, what's the plan? And I know that there's been comments about central booking, and I'll be honest, I'm not convinced that there has been the level of communication with our municipal courts about what the long-term plan is, but that's something, you know, Sheriff, you're in charge of the jail, nobody else, just you.
Yes, sir.
And in terms of who's going to be in that jail, whether it's a misdemeanor from Rocky River, or whether it's a felony from the city of Cleveland, I mean, ultimately the numbers and the people that are in there are going to be your responsibility. And you know, if we're moving to a central booking, I just want to make sure that all the enterprises that are going to have prisoners come in there, that we have a plan of what that's going to be. It doesn't need to be answered. That's just more of a comment.
I understand,
Okay.
Mr. Boyle.
All right.
Yes, Councilwoman Baker.
I'm just curious, we've been talking about, you know, how we're going to manage these inmates coming from different areas. Is there a reason why we're out of contract and it took us till March 16th to come up with a decision to backdate it now to January 1st to the end of this year? And I do appreciate that you did change it to the end of this year, so thank you for that. But I'm still, we're 2.5 months out.
Correct.
Well,
Last
3
year,
months out.
when the Richmond Heights was getting ready to expire, and we brought that in front of you because we wanted to bring it in line with all the other contracts that expired at the end of the year. It was Lauren Harwell, who was on one of my staffers, was told that you would approve it, but you're not going to approve any more after the end of this year when the rest expire, or that you're going to give it heavy consideration. It was at that time I sent out emails and I started asking the sheriff and Rhonda, and at the time Chief of Public Safety, Chief Carney, what are we doing? They're saying they're hesitant to approve these again. I was told by Chief Carney at the time to not do anything, not to process anything, just she's going to meet with the munis and she'll let me know. It was in November of last year that I finally got the green light to process all of these contracts. And as you know, there was deadlines that were sent out that no more meetings, no more everything shutting down till the following year. So I knew these were going to be late. And then we had them on, I think, in January, and they were held several times. So all of that lined up to, we have a lot of late contracts.
Well, I would ask, Sheriff, that now that we know that a strategy is needed and that we've bought ourselves a year, that before the end of this year, we have maybe 6 months going into June or July, a strategy that tells us what we're going to do by the end of the year. And I would hope that you're on that type of timeline.
Yeah, and as I said, this is probably something that should be done sooner rather than later. Having a sit down with these municipalities and see what direction we're going to go in along with them as well, ma'am.
Okay, and I understand that you inherited this problem.
Yes, ma'am.
But now it is your problem.
Yes, ma'am.
You have the time now that you bought a year, and I would hope that this time next year we will have a resolution, at least a strategy, or...
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Boyle.
Just real quick, do we have 4 on for today, and I know we approved some prior. Do you know if we have any more coming? Should we expect any more?
The only other, I don't know if Euclid's on or not, but Euclid,
Okay.
the ones, Moreland Hills, who used to be on, they dropped off. They're going to use, I think they're going to use some other smaller jails. But the ones on today are, I don't know if Euclid's on today, but I know Euclid's coming down the pike.
Okay.
Okay, so that would be the only other one. Yeah, so Richmond Heights, Woodmere, Highland, and Metro are on today. And then Euclid will be coming down the pike. We still have the contract with Brantnall, but that one doesn't end until the end of 2021.
Okay, so we're already in contract. We're in.
Correct. So at the end of the day, I think it would be 6 of them.
Okay, and we have 4 now, and so we're potentially, Brantnall looks like they're fine. Euclid probably coming down.
Euclid's coming down, yeah, eventually you'll get Euclid.
Yeah, that's good.
Sure.
X-Jail, do you know when is that, do we know when that's going live?
X-Jail?
Yeah. It's not related to this. We can answer other, if you know, I'll talk to you afterwards. Fine, thanks.
Okay, seeing no...
Before we vote on the
Sure.
item, the department has requested that the items be approved collectively, if that's okay with the board. And I'll read the other 3 into the record.
Sure.
The next item, item number BC 2020-129, and it's an agreement with the Village of Woodmere in the amount not to exceed $5,000. Item number BC 2020-130, an agreement with the Board of Park Commissioners of the Cleveland Metropolitan District in the amount not to exceed $3,000. And one brand new item, item number BC 2020-183, in the with the Village of Highland Hills in the amount not to exceed $20,000.
Okay, with that being said, I will make a motion to approve all those listed items we just talked about. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on now to new items. Item number BC 2020-173, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with K2M Design, Inc. for general architectural engineering services to add contract language to include the time period of October 2nd, 2017 through October 1st, 2020, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $200,000.
Hi, good morning. Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. This is an amendment request for one of our general professional architectural engineering services contracts. This is being requested to be amended to add time and additional general fund capital dollars to support critical ongoing project design efforts for various projects.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Any questions? Mr. Boyle?
So they are currently on a component of the central booking project, specifically the sheriff's relocation off the third floor area of consideration for central booking, as well as for a upcoming public safety project related to CCOMs.
Okay, seeing no further questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved.
Next item, item number BC 2020-174, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with CATS Construction, Inc. for resurfacing of Warrensville Center Road from Broadway Avenue to the Maple Heights North Corporation line in the cities of Bedford and Maple Heights for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $36,297.52.
Nicole English with Public Works. This is a contract amendment for a construction project, mainly for plan quantity adjustments that are related to ADA ramps. So initially, they were not envisioned to have to be replaced. When ODOT got on the site, these ADA ramps rules change often. So when they were out there, they then said that we do need to replace those ramps, and so that is the main cost. And since it's a federal aid job, they have the authority on that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this item? Mr. Boyle? Oh. Okay. Well,
You should try walking on the sidewalk. Now you have upgraded ramps.
Councilman Miller, please.
Because of Jim Boyle's support, I'm going to move approval.
Thank you.
I'll second it then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Next item, item number BC 2020-175, Department of Development, submitting a housing rehabilitation contract with Allenby Construction Co. LLC in the amount not to exceed $13,500 for lead work for the lead program in connection with a homeowner rehabilitation loan to Mary Hall, and it's for the period September 20th, 2019 through June 19th, 2020.
Sarah Parks Jackson with the Department of Development. Last week under the consent agenda, we terminated a housing contract which will now allow us to enter into a contract with Allenby Construction to complete the lead work at Ms. Hall's home.
Okay, any questions on this item? Seeing none, I'll move to approve. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Item number BC 2020-176, Department of Development, submitting a housing rehabilitation contract with Craftsman Custom Flooring, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $6,275 for installation of vinyl tile flooring, installation of a dryer vent and washing machine fixtures, replacement of a shower unit and faucets, laundry tub, kitchen sink and disposal, installation of a grab bar and replace masonry steps, all in connection with a homeowner rehabilitation loan to Diana Simmons Ferguson. And it's for the period July 3rd, 2019 through April 1st, 2020.
Sarah Parks Jackson again, Department of Development. This is another item that was approved for the reduction of various awards to contractors last week. And this week we are asking for approval to add those dollars to a new contractor to complete the work.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Miller.
So, why is this being submitted so long after the projected start date?
The projected start date, those are the loan completion periods, and if a homeowner has a variety of issues that have to be completed, they're not done simultaneously. So generally, when we put a loan in for the homeowner rehab, it's for an extended period of time. So if there's lead work that needs to be done, that has to be done first before any other work can be done.
Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2020-177, Department of Information Technology. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 47952, which will result in an award recommendation to Infor US Inc. in the amount not to exceed $32,586.96 for the purchase of 50 Customer Relations Management Enterprise Cloud Suite SaaS concurrent user licenses for use by the Department of Development and the Department of Health and Human Services, and it's for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, and B, recommending the award and contract in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Janelle Green for the Department of IT. These 50 CRM licenses are in use again by the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Development for tracking services and clients that utilize their services, This was previously given to us through the ERP contract, and since this has nothing to do with ERP, we separated it from that agreement to make its own standalone agreement to run to the end of the year. We will be posting an RFP for these services to move forward so we can get an enterprise-wide solution that various departments can use.
Any questions? Councilman Miller, please.
So, why is this coming to us in March when it was supposed to start on January 1?
So this was discovered when we were doing the true-up for the licenses as a whole for ERP, and noted that we were going to be assessed a charge for this. So we completed the true-up on February 10th. So this got kind of waylaid by other things that were going on in the department. And so we, although it was put into the system in January, it just came to approval now.
Mr. Boyle, please.
It says it's funded 100% by HHS levy, but it's HHS and development that are both utilizing this?
Yes, they are utilizing this, and I believe development has some HHS funds.
Okay.
Okay, seeing no further questions, I'll move to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Marquardt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number BC 2020-178, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on requisition 47021 and enter into a contract with Domestic Violence and Child Advocacy Center in the amount not to exceed $110,000 for the Latina Domestic Violence Project in connection with the fiscal year 2019 Stop Violence Against Women Act Block Grant, and it's for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety, and this contract with DVCAC is going to serve Spanish-speaking victims of domestic abuse and their families, and it has a 24-hour helpline. They do case management and those types of services. As with most grants, we did not get the grant notification of our award until after the grant started, which is why this is going back to January 1st. In fact, this grant award we did not receive until March 5th.
Any questions for Mary Beth? Councilwoman Baker, go ahead.
So services were still delivered even though we were not
Correct.
approved yet?
That is correct.
Because of funding from prior years?
No, it's actually,
how are we able to pay it?
We have not paid them. We have not paid them. We have not entered into the agreement with them. We held off entering into the agreement because we wanted to be I can speak, I'm sorry. We wanted to be certain of what our final award amount was going to be. Oftentimes they'll find other monies if for some reason this grant award did not go through. Usually what would have happened though is we probably would have gotten the grant award. It would have just been a lesser amount. And so they may have run out of money sooner than they would, because right now they're on pace to deliver services all 12 months at a certain level.
All right, good to know. Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I'll move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Item approved.
Next item, item BC 2020-179, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on requisition 47022 and to enter into a contract with Cleveland Rape Crisis Center in the amount not to exceed $100,466.41 for domestic violence victims assistance services for the Direct Service for Survivors program. And it's in connection with the fiscal year 2019 Stop Violence Against Women Act Block Grant. And it's for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
This is the same grant program as the last contract. And for Cleveland Rape Crisis, they're going to serve Latino and Latina survivors of sexual abuse and rape. They have individual group therapy and do case management, as well as having a hotline.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this item? Seeing none, I'll move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Next item, item BC 2020-180, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on requisition 47014 and enter into an agreement with City of Bedford in the amount not to exceed $36,501.69 for the Domestic Violence Victims Program in connection with the fiscal year 2019 Stop Violence Against Women Act Block Grant. And it's for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
This is a third contract under the same grant, and this pays for a victim advocate for victims of intimate partner violence whose perpetrators have a case before the Bedford court.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Any more questions for Mary Beth on this item? Seeing none, I'll move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman, my Lord, Baker. Jeez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the item's opposed? None? Item approved. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2020-181, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on requisition 47016 and enter into a contract with Jewish Family Services Association of Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $35,920.06 for the Domestic Violence Services Project in connection with the fiscal year 2019 Violence Against Women Act Block Grant, and is for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
The fourth grant against this program, and this is for adult victims of domestic violence who have limited language proficiency. And they focus specifically on the Eastern European languages.
Okay, thank you, Mary Beth. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Next item, item number BC 2020-182, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on a purchase order and enter into a contract with Spec Rescue International, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $25,240 for technical search specialist training for a maximum of 18 Ohio Homeland Region 2 Urban Search and Rescue Team members in connection with the fiscal year 2017 State Homeland Security Grant, and it's for the period March 16th, 2020, and they would also at this time like to extend the time period to June 15th, 2020, instead of what's listed on the agenda, April 30th, 2020. So again, the time period is for March 16th, 2020 through June 15th, 2020.
This contract is going to teach the USAR team members the roles and responsibilities of a technical search specialist. It'll help them identify safety issues, identify types of damaged structures, and how to mitigate risk down to an acceptable level. We did solicit quotes, and we're making a recommendation to the lowest cost vendor. The reason we're asking for the extension is this training is scheduled to occur at the end of April, but with everything that's going on with the coronavirus, in the event it needs to be rescheduled, we just wanted to have that latitude up front. And the vendors already agreed to that.
Thank you. Any, Councilwoman Baker.
Time has not changed as far as the training period. It's just you may delay it.
That's correct. Just reschedule the class.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Baker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda, item numbers BC 2020-184 through 185.
I know we had a question on the travel. I guess the overall question, Mary Beth, that I would have is if things were to, what would happen if we had to cancel this?
Well, at this point, what we're advising everyone is even if your trip has been approved, we are not authorizing them to commit to any expenses that cannot be canceled without a full refund. So at this point, the only thing they're actually booking are their hotel rooms, because as you know, you have a 24-hour cancellation on any hotel room. Otherwise, we are going to hold off until we're closer to the event and the travel ban has been lifted.
Okay, so if I hear you correctly, if we were to approve this today, then there's no potential loss of county funds because everything you're saying could be canceled.
That is correct. And we're asking for the approval to be based on the travel ban having been lifted.
And I'll open this up to my colleagues. Is there any questions? Councilman Miller?
Yes, in spite of that, I'm not sure why we would approve this if we have no idea if this travel is going to take place. And I think we should hold it until we find out.
Okay, I mean, is it more to lock in? And I 100% agree, a lot's going to happen here, but are you worried about dates? Or, I mean, I don't think that'll be an issue.
We're not so much worried about dates, we're just more worried about the issue of when the travel ban is lifted, if the event is still going on, the ability to secure the air travel and get registered in a timely manner. It does take time to go through the approval process, and that's what our concern is. You know, these items take about 3 weeks to hit your agenda. And so if the travel ban gets lifted, we may not have enough time to actually get everything secured.
So if you went ahead and booked air travel and the event was canceled, would you get a full refund on the air travel?
No, and that's why we will not book the air travel. There are some of we worked with Michael Zappola in the fiscal office, and many of the airlines are actually offering vouchers to book for future travel. But no, at this point, what we're telling our staff is you are not authorized to actually book your air travel until we know that the travel ban has been lifted. This is just to get ahead if the event is still going on. And to be honest with you, at this point, we don't know that this event is still going to be going on. As of Friday afternoon, it was. Our contact with the event host was still waiting for information from their leadership. But this is just simply, let's say that the travel ban gets lifted at the end of April. You know, at that point, if we were to go through the approval process to get that approval, it will be too late for the event. So this would just allow us, you know, if the event is lifted, if the travel ban's lifted on April 30th, then on May 1st, we could go ahead and book things. But no, we have no interest, nor are we going to be booking anything that we can't get our money back on.
My only thoughts is whatever we do today, we're setting a precedent going forward, and my understanding is that we're not going to approve any travel.
Okay.
I understand as well what you're saying, that you're just trying to get ahead of the gun, but I think maybe this board would be understanding if things were to be lifted and you did come kind of expeditiously. Your thoughts on that? I mean, because I don't want to set precedent today with you, Mary Beth, I guess, and I don't think any of the board does either. Comments?
I think that we're not in this alone, and that many conventions have been put on hold and many airline vouchers have been made. So I think that when it does come to a point where we're going to have more certainty about what's going on out there, we will be with everyone else.
Okay.
So I think it would be prudent of us, I think, to wait and see at least a few weeks to see just, where we're going with all of this, and understand when you come back to us that you, as with everyone else, hopefully in this environment, will have a more positive travel arrangement instead of being uncertain in approving it.
Okay. Mr. Boyle?
Yeah, perhaps we can hold it Would be
Yeah.
the recommendation, I think, and then, depending on what the circumstances unfold, that might be and I think that's where we are.
That's what I had in mind, not that you would have to go through the whole process.
That would be helpful if we could just table it and then bring it back
Just
when it's
hold it,
lifted.
and that we could bring it back on a week's notice at any time.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
And I'm sure, as you indicated, you could still hold your hotel rooms. They don't usually charge you for that, and then you can always cancel. So at least, usually that's the hardest part, I think. Yeah. Okay, we'll make the motion. Any?
The other thing, there may be travel for seminars and things like that where it's necessary for someone for their licensure purposes. That may be a different situation that we'll have to deal with, this body would have to deal with. I think this is just an educational piece. I don't mean to downplay it.
No, and I understand you're not trying to downplay it. Actually, this training is actually a requirement of a grant,
Okay.
and it is only offered once a year. We did receive specific grant funding for it by the host, but yeah, no, this is
Okay, and so that puts it in.
Yeah, this is a required training.
And I think that, not to say that any of it's ever frivolous, but where it's just kind of brushing up on other things. And this is something that your team is going to need to be licensed or appropriately set up to continue their work. And so I think that's something we'll have to, I just asked you, Mary Beth, to keep tight frame on when we come out of this.
Yes. Your suggestion of just tabling it, that will actually work well for us, so thank you.
So why don't we do that? You keep track of it then and bring it back when the time's right. So we're going to hold this item. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
So we need a vote to approve the consent item number 185 only.
So moved.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. I do believe we have some additional business.
Yes, we do. We have two mission-critical items. The first item from the Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 48219 to the vendor Crown Liebling in the amount not to exceed $24,999 for county pump station operation and repairs. $24,999.
Nicole English with Public Works. So this is somewhat an emergency contract that we want to put in place in the event that we don't have staff available to service the pump stations that we have, that we take care of out of our sanitary division. So this is a pretty specialized service. We did go to two different vendors that we're aware of to get quotes, and this is the lowest and the best that could service our pump stations. So the idea is to make sure that the pump stations stay operational in case there's an issue. You don't want sewer backup in people's houses, and this would keep us going if we needed to tap into them.
Yes, Lenora, please.
Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. I know this is new to everyone. Do we not have an N4 rec number? Because that is our...
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Works. I do not have one. We threw out in by-speed for 2 hours. As Nicole mentioned, we solicited known vendors that service these types of pumps. We've got specialized pumps at our pump stations. They're called Gorman-Rupp pumps. Currently, they're actually a factory authorized dealer, but we did secure 2 quotes. We did bid this out in by-speed for 2 hours. We had no inquiries, so... but we can create a rec and enforce as soon as we get back. We're still learning the process of mission criticals through the new system. It'll be our first.
Yes, Lenora Lockett again. That's because, again, I understand why you went in by-speed, because that is because of phase 1, still the place that we do the bidding. However, the official system is the N4 system. So for the record, we would, in the future, like the
We'll get it in there.
for N4.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to,
Before you make that motion.
yes, please.
I don't understand why this is a mission critical. It sounds like this is not to pay for some emergency that has arisen, but it's something that you want to put in place in case it does, and that seems like a reasonable thing to do, but I'm trying to understand why this has to be added to the agenda and put through as a mission critical. I don't think it fits a mission critical.
Have you authorized services already?
No. So I guess our concern is that getting the contract, I guess, could be walked on as a walk-on contract instead. The idea is that we want to be sure we have this in place because things are changing every day in order to have the service available. So the question is, could it be done a different way? We didn't want to wait a week because we could need this on Wednesday.
I think what Councilman Miller is saying, usually with mission critical is you authorize it and you came after the fact. I think your next item, you've authorized it already, which would fall under the proper protocol.
Again, Tom Pavich, Public Works, I just want to throw this out there too. I think our sanitary division, and Dave, you can chime in as well, we operate, I think, 60 pump stations, and I think the biggest fear is, as Nicole said, we're in an environment that could change by 3 o'clock today. If our sanitary division being exposed as they could be, if we have any type of dip in our staff, we could have pump stations that need immediate assistance, immediate parts replaced. We want to be able to have something in place already with an established vendor and get on their schedules, because they don't just do pump stations, they do other types of sanitary sewer work. So, it's trying to be more proactive as, and we did authorize them to be on call in the event that we do have a need. We just don't know what the
Okay, so you have authorized them to be on call, is what you're saying?
Service yet.
Okay. I just want to make sure I understand that, because usually you have to authorize them and then, okay. With that being said, Mr. Miller, sure.
So you're putting this forward as a coronavirus emergency response item, not something you would normally do.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. Because our fear is that if our staff isn't available, we still need somebody to do this work.
Dave Marquardt from Public Works. Our concern was that we have a very limited number of people working on the pump stations right now. And if we get further into the coronavirus, if we just lose part of that group of people, we won't be able to maintain the pump stations like they should be. And we don't want to end up with backups and problems because of that.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to amend today's meeting to include this time-sensitive item. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, today's meeting is amended to include this. Are there any questions, further questions for Nicole or Tom on this particular item? Seeing none, I will then make a motion to approve this time-sensitive mission-critical item. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Marquardt.
Before you vote,
sure.
I have a further question, which
Sure.
is how long the contract is for.
Do we have an end date on this?
No. Tom Pavich, Public Works, we only issued a department order on this as a mission critical, so it's not a contract. So it's, we made it a not to exceed, I believe, $24,999. Ideally, if we don't use it, we don't use it. That's the hope. But I don't think there's really an end date for department orders. I think we use department orders for a year.
Well, it will be 12/31.
12/31, because we'd have to get a new one for
Hopefully.
next year.
Yeah.
So if the money wasn't used, it would expire on 12/31.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
So seeing no further questions on this item, then I will make that motion to approve this mission-critical item. Second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. So we have another one.
Yes. Item number, the second mission critical item, again, it's from the Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 48197 with Service Master Restore in the amount not to exceed $24,999 for specialty cleaning services and disinfecting.
Nicole English with Public Works. So this is a contract that we did use starting last Wednesday after hours, and they were deployed into our building. So we've used our own staff to expand hours of cleaning in the county-owned buildings and operated. This is for specifically the leased buildings where the landlords did not have the ability to increase their cleaning as far as mostly public touch points, auto title buildings, the neighborhood and family service centers for HHS that are leased buildings. So this is Service Master. What they're doing is providing us staff and cleaning supplies for they're just rotating, wiping down all the public touch points, counters, chairs, doors, and sanitizing all of those on a rotating basis. So we've deployed their staff into all of our leased facilities, and this money is probably going to get us through today, and we're going to present a contract to keep us going later. As far as after today goes. But this was an immediate response that we took up last week in order to start this service in our leased buildings.
So I guess I'll make a motion to agenda a meeting again to include this item. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we've been agended. Any questions?
Just a comment.
Sure.
That this is just another example of no matter how bad things are, somebody's going to benefit from it.
And we did call, I mean, we've talked to at least 6 documented companies. I mean, some people said they couldn't even, they had no people to give us or supplies.
I'm not surprised.
And so, again, we think the cost is a little bit higher than you'd normally see, but this was our only people we could get to come out.
Okay. Any further? Yeah, Lenora, please.
Office of Procurement and Diversity. Again, I understand that this is a unique situation, but I just want to reinforce that the Enforce system is the official system and is tied with our financial records. And for our records, either the record or PO from that system, needs to be referred to for our transactions.
No, that's a good point. I
We'll
think
do
they've
that
got
now.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, I will make a motion to approve this mission critical item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, item approved. Any additional business?
No other business at this time.
And yes, please.
I had a question on the travel, that for any traveling that we've approved prior to today that did not leave yet, what are we doing to try and either capture a voucher or cancel the trip completely? I just don't want that to fall through the cracks because we're so involved in other things. But
I will follow up with Mike Cipolla, who does all the travel, and make sure we can get, as much of that canceled as we can and get our vouchers.
Right.
Especially if it's the county agent, I think we should be able to get some sort of airline credit or something.
we are working with Travel Pro, is that the?
Yeah.
So we have someone that we.
The bigger issue is making sure everyone cancels their hotels and things like that, so we're not stuck.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm going to have him send out an email. Councilman Miller, yeah.
Trevor and I had a discussion this morning, and we would just like to put forward that, and I haven't had a chance to talk with Nan about this, but we would be comfortable because of coronavirus if the border control were conducted by having advanced questions sent to the presenters and perhaps the presenters, when needed, could be available by conference call or something like that, and the members would continue to personally attend, so that to reduce the risk as much as possible, and until we get past the worst of this. So I just want to put that out there for the board's consideration.
I did talk to Trevor too, and I think that's a good idea. And I did talk to the executive this morning, and we're probably going to do the same thing for our Wednesday briefing meetings as well. We're going to kind of do it by conference call. I do know from a conference call I was on this morning, it was a little hard to get in this morning because according to Jeremy and IT, Alex, you were there too, everyone's using it now. So you had to hang up a couple times and keep calling back in to finally get in. But we did have a meeting. It was very successful. So I think we're going to see that as well for our pre-meetings. So I think we'll get an email communication going out, and we can link this number up and or a conference number. So point taken. So more communication coming via email is what we're saying, correct? Yep. All right. All right, any further comments? Seeing none, then I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.